night hearing the music from weddings in the neighborhood, occasionally interrupted by toasts spoken over a microphone. The teachers at my school are more determined than ever to see me married in Uzbekistan. They can't bear to the thought of sending me back to America next year as an old maid of 25. I spend my lunch periods with them thinking of excuses for why I can marry the Russian teacher's son or my director's cousin neighbor. When my local friends aren't attending weddings or plotting mine, they're watching the video from the last wedding. Every wedding I've been to has been videotaped. The cameraman was such a formidable presence that when I think back on the wedding, I remember the married couple and the cameraman. We watched the videos over and over, or maybe we're not watching the same video more than once. Maybe I've seen, please can you scroll up, please? 100 different wedding videos. I can't tell because they're all the same music, the same toast, the same food. It's a ceremony with little room for variation. Every video begins in the bride's home. Just after the groom and his friends arrive, the bride is crying because she is about to leave the home where she grew up. Her girlfriends place the cloth over her head and let out of the house, where all the neighbors have gathered. The trumpets stop, and only sounds are the sobs of the bride and the murmured good wishes of her close family members. Okay, slow down a little. The sadness of the moment always strikes me. How sad it is to grow up and leave others behind, and how inevitable. At the wedding, while everyone laughs and drinks and dances, the glum faces of the bride and groom preside all over. She is sad at leaving her family, and he is thinking of responsibilities that lie ahead as husband and father. Starting a family is not a laughing matter in Uzbekistan. Afterward, the whole thing is there in one small black cartridge to be watched over and over. The day a bride leaves her parents' home, she crosses from childhood into adulthood in one step. This rite of passage signifies the change in her role as clearly as if she were given a list of her job expectations. I don't think I'll ever experience a rite of passages like that one. In America, we grow up in fist and starts. I got a driver's license at 16, the first step towards independence, but I was still a child. After I voted for the first time, I was still a child. I moved away from home to go to college, then moved back a child with a degree. After finishing with the Peace Corps, I'll go back to my parents' home and then eventually to an apartment of my own. And then, if I get married, to an apartment with my husband. At this point, do I look in the mirror and say, childhood is past and I am now an adult? I don't think it will happen in a few moments. You can.
Thank you, Gabriela. You know, shit happens sometimes. After finishing with the Peace Corps, I'll go back to my parents' home and then eventually to an apartment of my own. And then if I get married, to an apartment with my husband. At which of this point do I look in the mirror and say, childhood is past and I'm now an adult? I don't think it will happen in a few moments you can capture on videotape. I think rather one day I will realize that somewhere along the line it has happened. Or worse, I'll never know. In Uzbekistan, I've noticed the importance of these rites of passage for knowing yourself and what is expected of you. And there's comfort in the fact that everyone goes through them. My Americanness wants to praise us for all growing up in different ways at different paces. It's good to be different, but lonely and often confusing. All right. There are 3 questions here at the bottom of the, after you read of analyzing informational texts. What special occasion does a quinceañera celebrate?
She's not a little girl.
Okay. For certain American Indian tribes, what is the purpose of a vision quest?
Maybe it can be who's prepared to be an adult.
Okay. Any other answer?
A quest about bravery.
All right. One more?
About them showing off that they're strong.
Okay. Very good. What is the most typical rite of passage to adulthood in Uzbekistan?
Marriage.
Marriage. Do you think a person that gets married becomes an adult automatically?
I don't think so. I think that, maybe you can become an adult of some experiences that you have, but not exactly a marriage.
It doesn't mean you're becoming mature either, because you can, but as Lizzie said, you can learn from experiences.
I think not automatically, but eventually, once you're married, eventually you will get mature, or maybe you will never get mature because it depends on every person.
All right. You are.
Yes, I think that it can also be because of marriage. You have so many responsibilities, so you have some decisions to take. Not always, but I think that that gives you a mature way of thinking, but not necessarily get married.
Okay. Very good. All right, we have a text practice. What is the purpose of each of the 3 selections? First option, to discuss one kind of initiation into adulthood. Letter B, to persuade readers of the importance of initiation rites. Letter C, to provide eyewitness accounts of coming of age rituals. D, to compare initiation rites across cultures.
D.
Uh-huh.
To compare
Which one?
initiation. Letter D.
Letter D, to compare initiation rites across cultures. Very good. From this, you can infer that in most societies, the passage into adulthood is marked by some kind of vision quest, ceremony of ritual, large party or dance, or painful ordeal.
Ceremony or ritual, maybe.
Very good. Ceremony or ritual. According to Jessica Barnes, American society has lower marriage rate than Uzbekistan, places less emphasis on weddings than Uzbekistan, demands that all its young people grow up at the same pace, allows its young people to grow up at different paces. What is the purpose of Crossing Threshold to Adulthood by Jessica Barnes?
Maybe allowing its young people to grow up at different paces.
Okay. Ashley, what do you think is the
I think it's the same answer that Sophia said. Letter D.
very good? Which article is subjective? That is, in which does the writer express mostly personal thoughts? Coming of age Latino style, vision quest, crossing a threshold to adulthood, or none of these articles? Manuel, which one do you think is subjective?
Maybe the F.
Which one, Manuel?
The F. Coming of age, Latin style.
Okay. Efrain, what do you think?
Well, I think that is the same as Manuel said, the letter F.
Okay. Angie?
The same is.
Okay. Okay, there is one constructed response. To synthesize what you've learned, write a brief essay about ceremony you are familiar with, or one that you've seen or read about that marks a passage into another phase of life. Give details about the ceremony, its purpose, what the person does, where the ceremony takes place. Then compare and contrast your ceremony with those described in the three articles. You may paraphrase the main ideas in the article. Do the essay in your notebook and then you will upload the picture into Moodle, okay? Because as far as I know, at 9 you have a meeting for the test, and I don't want for you to start jumping in and out from Moodle. So do the essay about what the instruction says, and we are going to find the time for you to put up the picture in Moodle, okay? If you happen to have questions, I'll be here.